Hey, this is Stephen Platinum, your friend in wrestling, with the All Elite Weekend War Journal. This is the third one, likely to be the last one. Um, Pay per view was tonight. Today was wild. Um, so I'm going to talk about what happened today. I'm going to talk about the pay per view. I'm going to talk about a couple of observations that I made that I think have kind of far reaching ramifications for AEW, their place in pro wrestling, the place of full live crowds at wrestling again. Um, 'Cause they were packed. Floor was packed. The bottom bowl was packed. The whole bottom thing was packed. And it made it such a great experience. But my day, um, there's a lot of ways that it could have gone wrong. Um, I mean, we checked out at 11, right on time. Kids were right on time, and they're so organized and they're so great. And I've never spanked them. I've never had to do that. And my kids are well behaved and super polite and all that kind of stuff. They're just on it. So we got out of there at 11. I had gotten a Groupon for a place called St. Mary's, which looked like this hole in the wall seafood place right next to the docks. So I was super excited. They were closed today. So I got the next nearest place that looked good, which was called the Cookbook. And we had a great time, but we still had time to kill. And I have to be honest with you, like money is super tight. I mean, the last 2 weeks I've spent most of the time. How's that view, kid? Just to give you some perspective. So this is after the pay-per-view. We finally got to check into our room. And Veronica, you know what she's obsessed with? I got to do my Duolingo. They're learning Spanish through Duolingo. And it's like, I don't want to break my streak of number of times that I've done Duolingo in a row. This is what they're worried about. This is summertime for them. They are out of school. 105 what?
105-day streak.
You have a 105-day streak on Duolingo? And by the way, them having a good grasp of Spanish made zero miedo that much more fun for them, which is really fun. Anyway, when we finally got here to the Omni, which I was looking forward to, and the room is gorgeous. Let me make that crystal clear. I'll just give you a quick.
I had to do this on big.
No, super nice. Bed's super nice. Everything's super nice. It's great.
There's a big bed that
And this view is ridiculous. They gave me a river view. So I'm really going to be able to appreciate that tomorrow during the day. But in any case, we came to check in at 3, and it's just the lobby is packed with AEW fans. You could just tell. They had shirts, Double or Nothing shirts, Darby Allin shirts. Everybody's all over. In fact, the people who sat right around us at the show, we saw in the lobby as we were officially checking in. So they had our, they didn't have our room ready. And they said, check back at 3:30. So it's like, okay, got a drink at the bar for the kids. And we're sitting and camping out, and 3:30 comes. No, we don't have your room ready. We'll just take your name down and we'll come get you. Then at 5 o'clock hits, and that's 2 hours, right? Nothing. So I go up there and they go like, honestly, we don't know how long it's going to be. So they take my name and number and they go, the kids, but here's the point is like the kids were so patient. They didn't complain. They didn't whine. They didn't any of it. And I stayed as calm. I stayed calm. Other people were not calm. Other people were demanding all this other stuff. So I just told them, which they seem to appreciate, I'm just going to take the kids out to dinner. We'll put all of our stuff back in the car because all these people were saying, well, we just want to leave our stuff, in storage and blah, blah, blah. And I just thought, oh my God, if that's dozens or hundreds of people because all these are AEW fans who are going to go to the pay-per-view, it doesn't make sense. So I loaded everything back in the car, which I was a little concerned about because I had some groceries that were like perishable, right? And I was like, wow, geez. But it was what it was. I just rolled with it. Ate dinner, McDonald's, found a place to get a bag of ice. So the cooler was safe. And then we went to AEW. So I was already a little frazzled and a little off. But parked, Dylan arranged for us to have seats I think he might have thought like, oh, they're not going to be happy with the seats because they sold all of the seats they could on the lower. So we were on the upper. I didn't care. I was so happy to be there. I was actually happy to be up there because I could see the whole crowd and I could really read what was going on. The kids loved it because I never thought about this. Like there are used to people sitting in front of them and then they can't see anything. But instead, they were just up there and they got to see it all and they were so into it.
A bed using a cupping cup to get water out of a jug. A bed.
My kids. So they were really into it. In fact, I haven't seen them be fans of wrestling for a long time. But that pay-per-view atmosphere, they knew enough about what was going on because we had been there live for Dynamite on Friday. And they had watched the countdown special, which I watched, because I wanted to look at especially the pieces that Dylan did. And Dylan did too, right? The Anthony Ogogo, Cody Rhodes thing and the Britt Baker Hikaru Shida thing, which I just thought was that in particular. I thought was a beautiful, beautiful package. So the kids knew what was going on, and boy, did that heighten their enjoyment. And they were just into it. And I thought, man, this pay per view is going to run long, and they're just going to be wiped out. And Veronica by the end was a little like sleepy tired, but Dylan came and joined us for like the last 2 or 3 matches, and that really perked Veronica up. Um, but Leo was just into it. And another cool thing about the weekend, one, AEW's for real. I think anybody who's trying to pretend that they're going to go out of business in the next year, you have no idea what the fuck you're talking about. They are viable in a way that even TNA never was. Let me explain. I have been to a ton of TNA shows in that Orlando location. A ton. And pay-per-views and all the rest of it. The crowd was never that hype. They were never. Now you use COVID, first big crowd back, blah la 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 la. I get all that, but there's something else going on, and anybody who's trying to deny it, like Cornette or anybody else, you know what the fuck you're talking about. They're for real. Their stars are for real. They love Adam Page. They love Darby Allin. They love Orange Cassidy. They love these guys. They love John Moxley. And you can tell the men and the women at AEW are having a fucking ball. Whether it's because their career is rejuvenated like John Moxley, whether it's because they're getting a shot in a way that they never would before, um, the excitement is real. And I'm not saying it wasn't real at TNA. I'm just saying there's a part of them, I don't care how good stuff was, and the Angle Samoa Joe stuff, which I saw, was fantastic. But you wrestled for TNA. That's a fucking embarrassing name. But AEW, you could tell there's a pride there, and the crowd chanted through every match. And there wasn't a stinker in the bunch. They delivered, and they made fans out of my kids. It was amazing to see because my kids, when it comes to pro wrestling, are awfully jaded. Why wouldn't they be? They've been around it their whole lives. For them, that's daddy's job, right? That's how they perceive it. They've watched stuff and kind of got into stuff in a small way. Like Leo used to be really into Rosemary, but just Rosemary. Could care less about the rest of what was going on. And so to see them excited was really cool. Something else that I thought was really cool at the meet and greet, which I failed to mention, was once I explained to Leo who Nyla Rose was when we saw Nyla on Friday, Leo really wanted to meet Nyla. And I thought about how important that was and how significant that was. And Nyla was not doing the meet and greet. So it didn't happen anyway. But I did write Nyla. I direct messaged Nyla on Twitter just to let her know how important Nyla was. And something that else happened that reminded me of that in the AEW show. And it caught Dylan by surprise, but it really didn't catch me by surprise, which was the announcement that Mark Henry was going to be the commentator of the new 1 hour show. And people really went nuts. And part of that was, I think they were just in a happy mood. But I think part of it is Mark Henry is African American, black. And I think that that resonates on a level that people don't quite gather. Plus, there's the distinct feeling that this is a real competition, that AEW is for real. And they can make arguments that we do this better or we do that better than the WWE in a way that is completely legitimate. That is, everything's subjective. It's pro wrestling. But is there any denying that the AEW does a better job bringing up stars and making stars. Was Sammy Guevara not made in that match? He was. And if you were there, you knew it doubly so. Is Darby Allin not a star? Is Orange Cassidy not a star? People can bemoan, people can bitch. I see it all the time too with Kenny Omega. Watching Kenny Omega in that match control and wrestle two completely different types of wrestlers and find a way to keep up with both and have that match feel like it made sense and flow. Um, and Britt Baker, if that wasn't a coronation, I don't know what was. And Sheeta doing everything she could to make sure Britt Baker was put over. And not just put over, but made. And I hope that doesn't get forgotten. She didn't just let Britt Baker kick out of every single thing. She got beat by Britt Baker's hold and tapped out to it. And when the crowd chanted, "Thank you, Sheeta," I think they meant it. That's the other thing. The relationship that the fans have to AEW is very genuine. And I've been to a lot of WWE shows, and there's always a disconnect there. And it's their own fault. This view is just so ridiculous. Oh my God. It's crazy. Um, but what I learned too is wrestling is inexorably intertwined in my life. And to even have something like Leo be able to attach to something like Nyla and seeing that that legitimately means something. To see my kids actually get swept up into the storytelling aspect of AEW and get excited. It was cool for me. I'm never going to want my kids to be part of pro wrestling. I myself know that I will never escape being a part of pro wrestling, nor do I want to at this juncture. But um, I unabashedly do enjoy AEW, and I get that people want to hear me bash it or some kind of nonsense like that. Um, sorry, I was there tonight and got to see my kids be genuinely excited. Now, I don't think that they're going to watch it from now on, but I do know that they will be less hesitant about coming to see wrestling with me on a trip like this in the future. And will that happen? Well, that's a story for another time. Suffice to say, I would say this weekend was very successful. If nothing else, I got to spend it with my kids. And if nothing else, the Omni or Hotels.com or somebody is going to have to pay a brother in some way, shape, or form for me not having access to my room until after midnight. My friend Vanessa, though, who's staying one floor away, just said she was just going to crash out. But I'll see her tomorrow morning. Maybe we'll go have breakfast, that kind of thing. So that'll be cool as well. And it was really cool. And Dylan, thank you again for the tickets. They're wonderful. And we had just a grand old time. In any case, let me go ahead and get this up. This has been Stephen Platinum, your friend in wrestling, with our All Elite Weekend War Journal number 3, the final one. And then tomorrow morning, my goal is to get full disclosure done before I leave at checkout time, which is noon. Yes, what do you want to say, kid? Go ahead.
Remember, tomorrow early in the morning we're going to go to the pool because I packed my swimsuit and I'm not going to pack my swimsuit for nothing.
So I guess we're going to the pool as well. In any case, see you later, Gator. Nice.